to use his Tesla shares as the main backer for his 21 billion in equity that is going to support this deal, he's going to have to find another way for advertising revenue to continue to come into Twitter. So whatever changes he wants to make, if he wants to open it up to trolls and everybody has free speech and everybody can say whatever you want, the consequences of that is that advertising revenue will drop, because if somebody says something inflammatory or something that is going to cause controversy, or you bring Trump back or cause it, if you're an advertiser, you don't want your brand to be tainted by that kind of thing. So you might pull back advertising on Twitter anymore. The money that is lost from brands that are pulling back has to be made up from somewhere. So is he going to sell shares to make it up, or put money in his own, pull up money in his own pocket? So these are the things that Elon Musk has to weigh when Twitter goes forward, and it's what investors and everybody else are going to be seeing how he does it. Because you can tweet all you want about changing things, but where the rubber meets the road is to continue to allow that ad revenue. For instance, now, is Elon Musk committed to $7.5 billion in ad revenue for 2023 as a target that Twitter set? How will he meet that target? Does he want to exceed it? Okay, you can do whatever you want. Well done, you bought it, but now...
Well, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and so...
Let's see how it goes. Now, 26th of April every year is celebrated as World Intellectual Property Day. Of course, since 2000, over 22 years ago, it's set to raise awareness of how patents, copyrights, trademarks, and designs impact our daily life. But the big question is intellectual property respected here in Nigeria?
Yeah, that's a very, it's a very good question. I think we've gotten better. Things have improved. There are intellectual property laws in Nigeria protecting copyrights, patents, and trademarks. But if you look at music, for instance, movies, piracy, those are issues that still plague Nigeria. So, I mean, it's to a point where there are artists. I mean, now things are more digital now and streaming. But, you know, for me, an older man like myself, I remember when artists would
older man.
Well, I'm older now. I'm not dating myself. Artists would. I remember when I was driving, for instance, and I remember taking a picture of a guy on the road who was selling a hawker who was selling an album. I think it was by Tiwa Savage or so. I mean, he had a full T-shirt. He had, you know, her album and everything. They make deals with them, with the Alaba people or whatever they call them.
Yes.
Because they can't beat them because they know they're going to be pirated, as you know, their music. So there's still a ways to go. I believe that today is international World Intellectual Property Day, and it's for the purpose of protection is very, very important.
Right. Now, quickly, let's talk about Nigerian Breweries, the first quarter of 2022, the highlights of the results. What did you find?
Yeah, so for Nigerian Breweries, I was hoping we would have a consumer goods analyst with us from ARM to talk, but it was very healthy. I think they're for the first 3 months of this year, their revenues, I think, exceeded revenues for all of fiscal year 2021. Mostly due to price increases, and I think their volumes went up. Also, I think they were able to bring their finance costs down. That's pretty much I think their shares were up about 4 or 5% in trading yesterday because the result was healthy. The dividend that was announced about 12 billion naira, if I remember correctly, at their annual general meeting they had on Friday. So for the brewery sector, look, it's all about, when it comes to consumer goods, inflation, and, you know, does Rotus or Victor or Chopin, do they feel good enough to go out and buy a beer or buy a drink? How are consumers reacting, you know, and then how well are the brands doing? Nigerian Breweries I think their head of marketing said they've got a healthy variety of drinks, you know, which offers, or rather products, which are very much, you know, diverse, and that's allowed them to be able to support their business. So it was a decent result for the company. Breweries, of course, is facing excise duties, you know, inflation challenges, whether or not people have enough money to celebrate and go out and drink. But for Nigerian Breweries, they did pretty well.
All right, let's look at some of the messages on the WhatsApp portal. Benga Komu says, we hope Twitter under Musk won't be a free-for-all, where fundamentalists and others will have a free reign. And Ogeno Chuko says, this takeover is good in the area of free speech, but an imposition of access fee is my major worry. Henry comes in with this one. He says, does Elon Musk does this deal mean that Twitter shares will no longer be publicly traded? Example on Bamboo.
That's correct. Elon, they'll be taken off the stock exchange. It's not going to be a privately run company. That's correct.
All right. This says, so Reuters, what happens to Aunty Ngozi, who's on the board? What happens to Parag Agrawal? Cause his response tweet to Elon might just have been his sack letter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Elon Musk controls all that now. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how things move forward. In the next few days, announcements will be made and we'll see how things go. Look, one thing very key, I mean, quickly, and I know we're out of time. Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla. Elon Musk is the CEO of SpaceX. He's the CEO of the Boring Company. He's the CEO of Neuralink. The man has so many, he says he doesn't get enough sleep. He might leave Twitter to be run. I mean, he owns it, but he might leave the management in place to run it because he already has so many other things that he's doing right now. I don't know how much attention he can give to them. So we'll see how that works out.
All right, that's about it on Business Express for today. Join us again tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. It was brought to you by ARM. And Reuters joins us again tomorrow. Reuters, thank you very much for coming through. You can catch Reuters on Twitter at Rotancourt. All right.
Owned by Elon Musk.
Owned by Elon Musk, really. All right. The show continues.